This is the Chad and Jesse Poker Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 5th episode of the Chad and Jesse Poker Show on PokerNews.com. I am Chad Holloway, joined by Jesse Fullen, and we have a great episode. You got us 2 good guests, Jesse.
That's right. I thought we'd just get one, but they said, no. We got Caitlin Comeskey and Nikki Limo coming in the house today. It's going to be great.
Yeah, the hosts of the Aceholes podcast. I'm pretty excited to get the chance to chat with them. But we've got some other big news that is happening here at the World Series of Poker. And number one that we're going to talk about right off the top of is this huge, massive turnout. We just had the second largest ever live poker tournament with the Gladiators of Poker, Jesse.
That's true, Chad. I mean, we're 2 weeks in the World Series. How many bracelet? 28? 29? I mean, there's been a ton of bracelet events already, in addition to all the other great, either the big satellites, in place of the single tables, all the deep stacks and stuff. It's been a crazy 2 weeks. Chad, for me personally, it feels very similar to last year. But look at the numbers, I'm way off. I mean, maybe it's just because this space is just so big.
Yeah. I think it's the space, but I also think, well, to me, it feels more like 2019. Because I did mention this was the second largest live tournament ever. The Gladiators of Poker got 23,088 entries over, I think there was 4 starting flights.
That's right.
It was the Big 50 at the 2019 World Series of Poker. Of course, that was a $500 buy-in, whereas the Gladiators of Poker was a $300 buy-in. That was the largest ever live tournament with 28,371. So about a $5,000 player difference there, but still a massive turnout. And so I just got that Big 50 vibes.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt, absolutely. And so what we got for you guys is our pal John Sofin at Poker News he's compiled all the numbers. We gave him a task and he made a great article that's on PokerNews.com right now. But it's compiling all the numbers of what we've seen so far this year in these events compared to their closest rendition from 2022. There was no Badoogie, so we got nothing. That's just a massive growth from 0 to thousands of players. But in reality, we can see what the numbers were like, and that's what Chad are going to talk about to start our show today. And it's insane. It is great to see these numbers. Like, for instance, the first event, the event that's closest to Chad's heart, that he'll never fucking stop talking about, is, of course, the $500 casino employees. Yeah, we know your bracelets over there. 2022 had a good showing. 832 players. Did it feel small last summer? I missed it because I was sick.
Yeah,
but
it actually felt large last year because it's been on the uptick over the last several years, which is great to see. This one was kind of sad for me because since I've won it 10 years ago, 2013, there was 898 runners, and it hadn't crossed that threshold since then until this year when it got 1,015, which was just massive. That was a 22% increase, and it really just kicked off the 2023 WSOP in a huge way.
Yeah, that's one of the bigger growths we've seen. And another one that's pretty decent is the 10K 7-card stud. The numbers don't seem that significant. 95 players last year in 2022, 130 this year. That's a 37% increase.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
impressive.
Good showing for a 10K buy-in. And it was such a variant.
It was kind of very similar with the 10K limit holdem, up 46% to 134 runners from 92 last year. Just goes to show you that these limit games, there's a big calling for it, if you will.
The $2,500 freeze out no limit holdem had 752 runners last year, 1137 this year for 51% growth.
Yeah, that shows me that people are sick and tired of reentries or rebuys and like the freeze out format where it's one bullet, everybody starts on the same level playing field, and if you lose, you're out. I think freeze outs are going to be very popular throughout the WSOP, throughout any other tournament series around town. I think there needs to be freeze-out events. There does need to be re-entry events like the Gladiators Poker, right? A $3 million guarantee. Of course, people want many shots at that. But I think freeze-outs, that's where I'd want to go.
They have their place. They have their players who want to play those. So, I mean, I think we see it best, like you said, having both freeze-outs and re-entries. You just have to do that to hit your audience in all the right places. Another big one, which blew my mind, I did not expect this at all. The $1,500 Raz had 383 last summer, 556 this summer, 45% growth. If you're not playing mixed games, you are missing out because it seems like a lot of other people are. And I know you played the 8 game this past weekend and had a nice deep run on day one. I personally love it too. And it shows that's just growing in the community. That's very, very good, very healthy.
Yeah, the numbers have been great. But like you said, it just feels different. It feels like last year in some regards. And I think it's because the WSOP and officials here have done a really good job in catering to these massive crowds, to running the tournaments really without a hitch. There hasn't been any nightmarish situation that sometimes we see. The traffic has been
besides
tough.
the traffic. I was gonna say, yeah. And to see these numbers in that first few weeks with that traffic from the F1, like repaving the streets, is insane. That people were so hungry for poker here at the WSOP that they were willing to. I mean, what? Sean Deeb was in traffic for an hour, got out and just walked.
Right.
Like it's insane. And these numbers are showing. So if anything, if the F1 traffic is starting down, which it is, like, what are we going to expect for the next 5 weeks, Chad?
I'm excited about it. I know we're all building up towards the main event. It's expected to be the largest in the history of the World Series of Poker, and I think it's going to get there. Ty Stewart, who we had as our first guest here on the show, said 9,999. Might be a little too ambitious, I think, but I do think we're going to beat the record that was set in 2006. There's going to be all kinds of qualifiers from both online and live satellites. It's just this WSOP, when all is said and done, they'll release numbers about how many players competed. That's just people who compete. We're not even talking about friends, family that are coming into the Horseshoe in Paris to watch their friends or just be part of the WSOP experience. And luckily, between the two properties, it's massive. Like you said, I think sometimes we're over here on the Horseshoe side. This is where we're recording. It's where our office is. It's where we spend most of our time. But then over in Paris is where all the day ones and the really massive fields are happening.
Yeah, that's right.
So there is that little bit of separation, but I think they do a good job because it's just a quick few minutes walk through the hallways. So
yeah, no, it's encouraging to see these good crowds for even the brand new $1,500 Badoogie. But also to know that those weekend events are coming. In fact, this weekend we have the Monster Stack, which will be another crusher. The Colossus is down the road. We got some big events still to come before the main event, and it's just going to continue to grow and grow. What the numbers look like. So I'm excited.
It's bringing in people from everywhere. I've seen people from back home in Wisconsin that are here saying hi, people I covered on the Mid-States Poker Tour, a lot of Europeans. In fact, Jesse, there was one that I was shocked to see.
Yeah.
I've seen him in the updates for the Poker News chip counts, and that was Viktor Blom, a.k.a. Isildur 1.
Where'd you see him?
He was playing one of the mixed games events of all things.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I've known Chad for several years. Chad, I can't recall all the details, but you have some ridiculous Isildur story. Remind me I remember I was drinking.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Most of my good stories involve drinking.
Basically, they do.
Yeah.
Basically, they do.
So Viktor Blom, for those who don't know, is arguably one of the biggest online players in the history of the game.
Oh, yeah.
He used to battle in Railbird Heaven for millions of dollars, literally winning millions day and night. He was this Swedish phenom. A lot of people didn't know. He just went by Isildur 1, eventually came out as Viktor Blom and started making appearances here and there. It's been several years since I've seen him. And the story, my favorite story involving him was there was a Full Tilt Poker Festival in Galway, Ireland, that I happened to go over, and they had a players party, and he was there. I was there, was drinking a bit, and I got to chatting with him. He had been drinking a lot. I had too. And I said, hey, let's have a drinking contest. And he was drinking Red Bull and vodka, and I had a Guinness. And he said, okay, let's do it. But I don't want to, or he had the Guinness, I had the vodka, something like that. And you
don't drink beer. So
yeah, but I was, because it was Ireland.
Okay.
But I think I had the Red Bull vodka.
Okay.
He had the Guinness, but he said, all right, if we're going to do this, let's switch, because I think he thought he could drink the Red Bull vodka faster.
Yeah.
And so we did. He did not win. And my good colleague, our Poker News photographer, Danny Maxwell, was there, and he just perfectly swooped in and snapped these pictures. So there's these pictures of me, us, cheering, me and Viktor, and then starting to drink. And then I'm down looking at the camera like this. Well, he's still drinking. He didn't stand a chance. He did. We Wisconsin boys, we can drink. But,
no joke. No joke. My goodness. Well, I'm sure Isildur is not the only unique name or potentially forgotten guy we'll see this summer. I mean, I who was it that we saw yesterday? Oh my gosh,
I was off yesterday, so.
No, I mean names escape me. I'm so bad at names. It's the fucking worst. Chad, getting old. My gosh, this disappear. But if I even tell you, I won't even tell you who it was, because you don't remember his name. It's that embarrassing. All that said, we'll see more forgotten names, and it's just a big summer. Now that we're here, now that we've seen these numbers, we can track the analytics. Do you think that Ty's gonna be that far off?
I still like my number. I think I sent it like 9,100, 9,200, right around there.
Yeah.
I definitely think betting the over now seems a little more confident, just based upon the numbers that we're seeing. I do think it's going to be a very special and big main event.
It was Sammy Farha, by the way.
Oh, Sammy Farha. Yeah,
that's what I
here.
said.
Yeah.
I'm like, Jesse, don't you dare.
I'm glad you came up with it.
Thank
because
goodness.
You really left him hanging there for a little bit.
With Freddie Deeb. I'm like, 'cause I saw Deeb too. And I was like, Sammy Farha.
The last time I heard about Sammy Farha, he was getting knocked out by a dealer down there in Texas, right?
Yeah. No, he was hanging out in the what was it? I think the 10K.
Yeah,
he was hanging out with the deep run. All right, well, let's take a break from the story before we go into calling the clock. A quick message from one of our sponsors. I'm gonna keep this one on me. I'm gonna go with Global Poker. They are kicking off their Turbo Series Montreal Edition, running June 16th through 18th. This is a fantastic series with both the gold coin and the soups coin sides. They run this, with the F1 races, and so a big weekend, just 3 days of the fastest turbo events you can think of. I played in the last series, and I remember thinking, like, I've never even considered blind levels this short, but it's so fun. And the trophies and the prizes you can win are ridiculous. They have a branded racing helmet that I really badly want to put on this shelf, but that means I have to run like Freddie Deeb or one of these guys like Isildur. So that's probably not going to happen. But check it out, Global Poker. And if you first time sign up, use code PokerNews for a special gift from Chad and me and our friends at Global Poker. Check it out. Okay. Am I going to keep talking? I guess it's just the Jesse show today. It's not the Chad and Jesse Poker. This is the Jesse Poker Show. We're going to start our Calling the Clock segment.
All right, we have some big topics to talk about on the board this week, starting with ODB. That's old David Baker. He won his third WSOP gold bracelet, taking down the $1,500 Raz. This was an event that I was invested in because our good friend and longtime poker reporter, Mickey Doft, was going deep, ended up finishing in 12th. And then you have David Baker winning it in a 2 big bets in a chair sort of story, Jesse.
Yeah. I mean, the chip in the chair story is fantastic from Jack Strauss. I mean, it's a fantastic thing to think about. I was anti-sweating ODB. ODB had a little poker news drama this past week where we had a rookie reporter who just wasn't covered, didn't have ODB in the record, in the chip counts or in the hand updates. And he got on Twitter, which is my baby. I check the poker news Twitter all the time. And here's ODB. I'm like, how do I respond to ODB? I mean, I respect the guy, but how I tell him it's a rookie. You gotta be a little gentle on the rookies, otherwise they leave. We don't want to scare away the new guys. And so ODB was tearing hard on us, and we fixed it all. Of course, obviously we love ODB, but then he goes and wins the bracelet. I'm like, shit.
Yeah, he showed those rookies like, hey, this is why you got to know who
right.
I am.
No, for real. Yeah.
I've known ODB for a while and I love him. He is a great player. Obviously, was a 2-time bracelet winner. Wins his third here in a variant Raz that he loves. He adds his name to a list of some strong Raz bracelet winners, including Max Pescatori, Phil Hellmuth, Kevin Gerhardt, those sort of players. So this is a prestigious event to win, and he did it in dramatic fashion, coming back heads up against Justin Liberto. And he said in his winner's interview, and I believe this, if you put together a list of people who love poker, a top 10 list of those who love it and want it the most, David Baker's name would be on there. He loves the game. He's always grinding. He goes above and beyond. So you got that 25K fantasy draft that Daniel Negreanu does every year. Well, ODB organizes a $500 buy-in fantasy draft based off that one. And he's just doing that as something in the community. I love ODB. I think he does a lot for the game. And I was really happy to see him win number 3.
I like the anti-sweat. I think I had my spot there, but he wins the bracelet and it's over. Okay. Josh Arieh in event 22, the 10K limit holdem championship, wins his 5th bracelet. My goodness. I mean, what a story.
He's 2 years removed from winning 2021 WSOP Player of the Year.
Yeah.
He's winning this 10K. It's a championship. So there's a big, we already talked about it at the beginning of the show. This was one of those tournaments where the numbers were way up. Wins it for $316,000. Defeats a stacked final table that included Daniel Edema, who finished as runner-up, Joe McKeon, Nick Papillo, Nick Schulman at another final table. So this was not an easy task, but he gets it done. And at what a time. Nominations are open for the Poker Hall of Fame right now. He was nominated last year.
Yeah, and not only that, but I mean, his story is just so good. We first got to know him. The world got to know him in 2005 when he finished 3rd in the main event, and that's the year that Hashem wins. I mean, which is an epic year. It's right. It's Moneymaker, then it's Raymer, then Hashem. In my opinion, 3 amazing years in a row that really built the poker boom before Jimmy Gold just crushed it with the biggest main event ever. So for Arieh to make that deep finish in that main event and to still be not only just in poker, but growing his history. getting 5 bracelets over an 18-year career is massive. And then, he bought into, what site did he buy into, Chad?
Yeah, the Stake Kings or Poker Stakes.
Poker Stakes, yeah. So he's not only has he had a great poker history in his gameplay and in what he's done, but he's also somewhat of a builder, like helping to give poker players a place to get, the help they need to sell action, things like that. So what a story, what a bracelet, not only that, but the WSP just freaking started. We're just getting started. It's only the second week, and here's Arieh's 5th bracelet. I'm so impressed. I'm so happy. I'm shocked. I think you're right. I think Hall of Fame may be locked up almost for this guy.
I mean, he's got to make the nomination for sure. This year.
Yeah, right. But what a crusher, man. What a crazy story.
It was Poker Stake.
Poker Stake. There you go. Boom, boom, boom. All right, this one's huge. I mean, what a freaking week for Mr. Sturm. Chad, are you familiar with this guy?
Yeah, he's like the new German wonderkin, which we've seen many of over the years, the Fedor Holtzes of the world, if you will. He's 22 years old. I guess he just won like a $1.6 million tournament. So the way his week worked was the Sunday Millions hits 10K buy-in. He wins it for 1.5 million. And then, of course, he wins his first bracelet for 1.5 million too. 3 million in the same week, and you're 22 years old. Yeah, that's it's reminiscent of when Adrian Mateos won. He was 22 years old and defeated in the Heads Up Championship the legendary John Smith. Right, so John Smith at the time I think was 70 years old, because we had a Heads Up match in this tournament where he won his bracelet was the $50,000 high roller. It came down to Sturm, 22 as I said, against the legendary Bill Klein, who is 75. So really old school versus new school. And I know there were a lot of people. Literally, I was sitting at the table. I was playing in the eight game mix, and Chino Ream was to my left, and there's some other Ian Johns were at our table. A lot of people were rooting for Bill Klein in that match. He's one of poker's nicest guys. I got to play with him at the WPT Win Championship for a little bit and can attest. Playing with him is a pleasure. Super nice guy. But in this case, it was Sturm getting it done, or Sturm rather, and he's
on fire.
Yeah,
he's on fire. I mean, to call him the next Fedor Holtz is no question. I mean, he's worthy of it. Based on his run, it just seems like he is the guy to keep on. I mean, it's one thing to like win one of these maybe, but to win 2 in the same week like that, and I mean, he's out here for the summer. What else can he do? It's this might be his summer, man.
Let's see if he can jump in there in the 250K or something. He can afford it now, right?
I think so. I think he can probably afford it, but maybe so. Yeah, it'll be fun to watch for sure. All right, this one was massive. This one was great. Johnny World. What a story. Have you heard about this tweet?
I did, yeah. It's Johnny World Hennigan, Poker Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Right? He was playing in the 10K08 or something, and then where Ben Lamb was and a bunch of other crushers.
That's right. So he made day 2. He has the same stack as Ben Lamb. He walks over. David Williams is across the table. And he says, hey, we both have the same stack size. Might be a good time for us to swap 1.5%. Hey, what do you think? And Ben Lamb's like, absolutely. I mean, it's a retelling from David Williams. Absolutely. And goes to shake his hand. And Johnny World just laughs him off and says, lol, just kidding. And walks away.
It's like,
I mean, what in the world? How good is this?
It's funny because like Johnny World to me has always been that quiet, stoic figure at the poker table. To see him cracking these jokes, I guess, is a side that I haven't seen, and I'm guessing a lot of poker fans haven't. But here's the thing: Ben Lamb is getting the last laugh in this one, right?
Massively,
yeah. Because John Hennigan finished in 13th place in that tournament for $26,662, whereas Ben Lamb is coming back in the final day as the chip leader at the final table. And what's first going to pay here?
Payouts $492K up top.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, maybe that swap should have happened. Maybe, but Johnny World is a gambler, dude. That's his whole nickname. He'll bet on anything in the whole world. And so it's not, beyond it for him to do this. I'm going to jump for it. But that burn is so good. Even today, we see on Twitter, Ben Lamb posted like, I know this, I know the numbers, I know I can win, but he still wins because that burn was so good. What a needle.
And I feel like it's hard to burn Ben Lamb too. He's another one who he's always kind of quiet and stoic, plays his cards close to his chest, so to speak. And so for these two to do it, I think it's just two characters you wouldn't have expected it from.
Yeah. All right. It's time to talk about a tweet that was big for me yesterday. I don't think it broke the internet like the Johnny World one did, but I love seeing this. Last week, we talked about this guy who wins his bracelet after his girlfriend for 9 years wouldn't let him play and completely holds him off. This time we got Hello Kitty, Justin Arvin. Justin Arvin, is that his last name?
Arnwine.
Think of. I just swapped it. Justin Arnwine, his wife's Caitlin, and this is the polar opposite, which I love. You got one guy, girlfriend says no poker, doesn't play for 9 years, wins a bracelet. Justin, however, he runs super deep in the Gladiators of Poker, finishes 81st. He's in the payout line, and his wife Caitlin calls him up and says, "Where are you? Get out of line right now. There's 16 minutes left of late reg in the deep stack. Go right now and jump in there." And he listens. Says, okay. Jumps out of line, jumps over there, registers, makes it in time. He bags, makes day 2. I mean, and he made the money, obviously. That doesn't make a massive deep run. But how sick is this that, like, to see that polar opposites of opportunities for a relationship in poker?
Yeah.
I mean,
you see all these different kind of poker couples, right? Chris Norman and Katie Lindsay, they played together, what have you. Then you
Jesse
see
Sylvie Ashley. Yeah.
Then you see some who, one of the spouses or one side of the relationship doesn't know poker.
Yeah.
They're always there waiting or what have you. Johnny Moss's wife.
Phil Hellmuth's wife.
Yeah, Phil Hellmuth's wife's another one. So, they're kind of waiting.
Honey. Yeah. Yeah.
But then you get the couples, who, like we talked about, the one, I don't like you playing poker. Well, I'm going to play poker and what have you. But in this case, that Caitlin and Justin seem to be a very popular poker couple right now. I think they're East Coast based, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And always having that support of one another. Not only support, like, you need to get out of line and go play.
Yeah.
It reminded me, just real quick, I know we just talked about Josh Arieh, but like, he won the bracelet and then just jumped into the 1508 game right after. Like, go celebrate these things.
Yeah.
You get a win, go celebrate. But I guess.
Also the Hello Kitty wear. We can't even talk about it. We don't have time. Okay. All right. Oh, shit. Now we're going to talk about Twitter Spaces? Chad, I am so done with this. I'm so done with this.
Wow. I thought you were all about the Twitter Spaces.
No. Are you kidding me? Okay. I mean, we're going to say his name, right? We have to say Eden Rocks now?
Mm-hmm.
This is a joke, man.
I don't know. I have never been in a Twitter space yet, so I might not be able to contribute too much here.
That's not the brag that you think it is, because even Norman Chad has had a Twitter space that he hosted.
Yes,
you're like grandpa, like bragging about like.
I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying I haven't yet. So. But you're over them already. So did I really miss it? This
story is just it's insane. So to wrap up the last like 72 hours of what's been going on, I've had them on running for like 8 hours over the last 2 or 3 days listening to this shit, and it is too much. But we have to talk about it. Eden Rocks, he started hosting these Twitter Spaces as a great like follow up to HCL. Adding commentary and letting the community talk about it and stuff. And then he turned it into like the Berkey airball stuff. Like he was finding a great little space for people. But then he comes to Vegas and he acts like he's a celebrity out here. And he goes to Bellagio on Rob Kuhn, very nice guy, put up there. And there's a noise complaint. And he's live with 50 or 60, 70 people listening. And he just razzes the freaking security guards, gets thrown out. And it's just the drama, man. The drama is insane. Then he goes off on Jamie Kerstetter yesterday.
Oh, you don't do that.
Throws her under the bus and says, like, how dare you? I mean, it's just like, bro.
Yeah, slow down a little bit, maybe. I don't know. We always warn rookies, and this is my 15th World Series of Poker. A lot of people come for the first time, and Vegas will get the best of you. You can get caught up in the fast-paced lifestyle, make poor decisions. I don't know if that's the case here, but it certainly sounds like maybe got going a little too fast here in Las Vegas for Mr. Eden Rocks.
Okay, it's 2 weeks in the World Series. Let's give a little update on Negreanu. Daniel Negreanu. Chad picked Daniel Negreanu to win the bracelet before Phil Hellmuth. Luckily, neither have won a bracelet yet, so we're both running pure. But what do you think so far of his summer?
It's definitely off to a pretty slow start. I'm looking over the Hendon Mob results right now. It looks like he's got 4 cashes. None of them too exciting. He had a 22nd place finish in the 25K high roller for 50K. So 50K sounds nice, but it's only double the buy-in.
Yeah.
If we're looking on a return on investment, it was his deep run in the Gladiators of Poker $300 buy-in. He finished in 72nd place for almost $5,900.
It's crazy to run so deep in such a massive tournament, obviously.
Yeah, and it makes me wonder if I thought it was great that he got in those streets, if you will. As we talk, he usually plays only the bigger buy-ins, skips these ones. So I think it was a great for him to do that, to jump in there, and all the recreational players that he got to play against that whole time, the pictures
it's
that he
their
took.
dream. Are you kidding me? The sit next to Negreanu or across the table, or even the table close by, it's still like, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
it's so magic.
I think that was great for him to do. He's a huge hockey fan, and the Golden Knights tonight are going to be playing for the Stanley Cup. He's probably going to be at that game. I know he's been at the other two that were here in Las Vegas, and so I think he's giving a little love to the hockey. But once that's done, who knows? Maybe it's a slow start. There's no denying it.
He's been firing though. Yeah, we're both watching his vlogs, and Daniel's watching our vlog, which is fucking hilarious. Daniel corrected us. We did make a mistake. I think I made a mistake. Last week we talked about Roger Moore in the Hall of Fame and mentioned that he played James Bond. Incorrect. I've been told that story. I just believe it. I mean, how sad am I that I just believe that story? But Daniel corrected us and said, "No, guys, he was a high stakes player.
High stakes player from Georgia."
Makes more sense. Thank you, Daniel. But shout out to Daniel Negreanu. Hey, what's up, homie? Thanks for
Come
watching
on the show.
Yeah,
we're trying.
Please, we got a seat right here for you.
He's a very busy man.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, now it's time to talk about Hellmuth. Same story, man. Hellmuth. It's been 2 weeks. Same 4 cashes, just like Daniel, and a little bit better in for him. Pulling up my numbers right here.
Yeah,
let's see.
It's he's 4 cashes, nothing too exciting. The biggest one, $7,300, and that was for a deep run, 47th place in the $600 no limit hold'em deep stack. Which again, just like Negreanu, that's cool. He's getting in the streets, playing with a lot of recreational players, making a deep run. So very happy to see that. But all of the other cashes, other than the 3 cashes, were all in $1,500 events. So nothing too special for Mr. Hellmuth yet either.
Right. 21st place in the dealer's choice, $1,500 buy-in for $5K. He got a 127th place in the 08 for $2,600 and a 59th place in the 8-game mix, $1,500 buy-in for $3,200. Yeah, I mean,
we need a deep run from Hellmuth or Negreanu. Like, it gets people excited whenever they do.
And I mean, Hellmuth believes in himself. He went out and bought 2 hats. Number 17 and number 18 to have on site ready to go. I mean, that's what I love about Hellmuth, that he is, I mean, he's so prepared mentally. Like, he knows he's going to win one. So let's go ahead and buy those hats. In fact, let's get ready for 2. How crazy is that?
Well, I know he was kind enough to sign some books for us at PokerNews that we're going to be giving away at the upcoming PokerNews Cup. So some signed swag by Phil Hellmuth. His office isn't too far from where we're set up, so we do get to see him, keep tabs on him.
We do.
And I do think it's just a matter of time before he ends up making a deep run and pushes for bracelet number 17. Off to a slow start, just like Negreanu, but just based upon the volume that each of these guys are putting in, one of them is almost bound to make a final table.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, watching both Hellmuth and hearing from him and the way he's mentally there. Negreanu on his vlog, he's mentally there too. I agree. One of these going to go. I'm still on the Hellmuth side of him taking the bracelet first, but I wouldn't be surprised if Negreanu took one down even this week.
Yeah.
So there we go. All right, Chad, let's where do we go from here?
Bring in our guests.
Is it time?
It's time. Let's bring them in.
All right, it's time to bring in our special guests. Usually we have just one person in the room with me and Chad because we're in a tight little space. But today we said, let's see what we can do if we bring in 2. They are the co-host of the brand new Aceholes podcast. It's fantastic. You can find it wherever you find podcasts on YouTube and all those other places that I can't think of offhand right now. Let's bring in Caitlin Comeskey and Nikki Limo.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Thank you. Wow.
That was the most excited I've ever been. At least like portrayed on voice, right, Chad?
I think so. I think the rest of our old guests are going to be like, "Whoa, why didn't I get that introduction when I was here?"
Genuine.
It's like, and here's Jack McClellan. Like, I'm so sorry. Yeah, welcome, y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. So this is our 5th episode of our show, and you guys have been doing your podcast now for what, 8 or 9 episodes?
Yep, we just released the 8th episode. So we are veterans.
Yeah, right. So look at us. You guys are closer to double digits than we are, so we're very jealous. But we're very excited to have you guys here. And first, Chad, this shocked me. I was asking Chad, like, what do you know about Nikki Limo? And he's like, well, I don't really watch much YouTube and stuff. So I'm like, okay, well, don't worry. She had a speaking line on one of your favorite shows. And then I found that Chad has never seen an episode of How I Met Your Mother.
I know what it is. I just have never watched it. Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't really watch it either, to be honest. But I watched before to prepare for the show, for my line.
Yeah. Had to be really prepared for that.
Yeah.
So both of you have an entertainment background, which is awesome. Let's dig into that. So Caitlin, tell us about your history before poker. Like, what was your entertainment life like?
Absolutely. So I got my BFA from NYU in acting. I graduated in 2011. And then for the next few years, I pursued stand-up comedy. I toured with a burlesque troupe, Pinups on Tours. I hosted a burlesque show. I visited over 42 states and like 70 cities. It was a really cool project because it was for service members. So it was free for veterans and military to attend. So we went to a lot of AMVETS posts and VFWs and American Legions. Got to meet a lot of like really salt of the earth people and practice my craft. Cause like a great thing about those shows was I'm hosting it. I would get like 45 minutes of stage time. And back in LA, you know, you're lucky if you get 3 to 10 minutes on stage to work on your stand up. So that was like a great experience for me. I also did improv at the Groundlings. I wrote and produced my own material while I was in LA. And then I moved back to Texas and sort of like fell into poker.
Yeah. Yeah. Nikki, how'd you get into entertainment stuff?
I just fell into it.
Yeah.
No, I was kidding.
I mean, it just sometimes just happens. Like,
yeah, no, I was a child actor, and then my manager died when I was in middle school, and so I quit for a while, and then thought that I had to like pursue other interests. Tried to go to college, and I was gonna be a nutritionist or something, and then got back into acting, and they started doing stand-up comedy in Santa Barbara, which is where I grew up, and I helped promote the show in exchange for stage time, and it went really well. So I kept opening for the headliners that they were bringing to Santa Barbara, which were LA headliners. And they kept bringing me like to shows in Camarillo and shows in Ventura. And like, we just kind of went down the coast. And then eventually I dropped out of college to pursue entertainment full time. And I found a acting conservatory program and did stand up and was doing improv at UCB, the competitor school to Groundlings. And got into YouTube because I needed footage for my demo reel back in like 2008. And they had just started filming with good quality cameras for YouTube. And they needed actors because they weren't like professionals back then. Like it wasn't like a career that you could do back then. It was just people uploading random videos. And I just happened to fall into like the top 100 comedy channels at that time. And they just had me on all of their channels, pushing audience over. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. So that ended up becoming my full-time thing.
How did you two end up meeting then? Was it poker? Was it before poker? What's the history between the two of you?
So we met in poker. I think the first time we met, we were both really drunk.
Yes. It was at a Brad and Andrew meetup game at Bellagio. And I was like, hey, we follow each other on Twitter. I'm drunk. I'm Nikki.
Yep. And she was with her parents and her dad and mom bought me a drink. Yeah, they did. I owe them a drink. But then we also, so Katie Lindsay, ACR, America's Card Room Pro, is a great matchmaker. And she's usually known for her romantic matchmaking. She introduced Adam Hendricks to his girlfriend, who they've been together for a long time now. But she also made our connection. We were hanging out one night, the night before the GPI Awards. And Katie asked who my date was. And I was like, no one, I'm a loser. And I asked a bunch of people and they all said no. And she's like, oh, we'll take Nikki. Nikki wants to go. Nikki will be your date. And I was like, snap call. Please come. And then she showed up in a slinky blue number and she stole my heart. And the rest is history.
Perfect.
Don't tell her husband.
Yeah.
No, don't worry. There's not been an audience for our show yet. Don't worry. He won't see it. So you're good. So in that case, how'd you guys get into poker? Like, Caitlin, how did you find poker?
So my dad taught me how to play when I was really young, like probably like 10, 11 years old. And then, so we'd play like around the kitchen table. We play like a lot of hearts and a lot of no limit hold'em. And then when I became casino age around 21 and I was living in Los Angeles, the first casino I ever played in was actually Hustler Casino. And I was a 1-3 reg there, not reg, but recreational. Whenever I had like a day off and I wasn't like nannying or touring or whatever, I would go and grind for a few hours down in Gardena when I was living on the west side of Los Angeles. And then when I moved back to Texas after a health crisis to be with my family, I didn't have a lot of friends yet. I was trying to like create a community. And then all of a sudden, after like 6 months of playing at Texas Card House, North Austin, I realized I had like more friends than I had. I was making more money playing poker than I was in my hotel job at the time. And it just seems like a really natural way for me to try to step back into content creation and entertainment and with this new passion that was going really well. So it kind of found me. It really wasn't like a conscious decision of like, oh, I dreamed and grew up like wanting to be a poker player, but I did watch a ton of poker content. I used to watch The Big Game. I used to watch the Shark Tank and the WSOP coverage, the Triton coverage, like especially during the pandemic, I watched like all of that content. That was all I was watching. So it really became really natural.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, for me, learned when I was a child as well. We always played cards. We always played gin rummy and stuff. And I have a huge Filipino family, and they always played poker. All the adults played poker on all the holidays. So we'd get together at Easter, Thanksgiving, all the major holidays, and then some in between, like 4th of July and like other ones. We'd get together and play poker and Scrabble. And the kids weren't allowed to play because it's an adult game. But one year, my cousins learned how to play. So we started a kids game, and we did it with candy, and I scooped. Like I just won so much candy. I also had to learn about bankroll management because I ate most of my stack, and then I realized I didn't have enough leverage anymore to get people to fold.
It's a hard lesson.
Yeah, it was a hard lesson. But yeah, I loved the game. I loved figuring people out, the detective type of element to it, the psychology part to it, but never, actually. We didn't know how to play for reals. Yeah. Then in college, it was the money maker era. I didn't really follow along, but all of a sudden, all of my friends were super into poker. And so we did house games like every other night. And I would usually make money. So I was making like $50 a night, like when we were playing with like quarters, and I was like, oh, it was really fun, but I didn't really think anything of it. And then in the pandemic, we were house hunting in Vegas. My husband's into crypto. And so we were living in California where they like to destroy you with taxes. So we were looking for a home in Vegas, and everything was pretty shut down. I didn't get my Vegas fix in, and I started playing poker a lot on my phone, and someone sent me a book, and they were like, did you know there's like a whole strategy behind it? I was like, no way. And then I was doing options. Yes. I was doing options trading.
No way.
Like, no, I'm going to learn this. Good. And so then I get obsessed with things, and I just have to learn everything there is to know. So I did that, bought a big, huge pile of books, started going to Commerce every day during the pandemic, and just, became an obsessed grinder.
What books did you buy?
Okay, so the first book was Mental Game of Poker by Jared Tindler.
Yeah.
And the first, I know, I was like, well, I guess I do get tilted when I'm losing.
Jesus, yeah.
So the first paragraph, he has this line where he goes, maybe one of the reasons you're losing is because your strategy has changed. And he's like, I bet in the beginning you didn't know that it was right to fold QJ little o OOP to a 3B. And I was like, what the fuck?
What language did he like fall on his keyboard? Like, this makes no sense. Yes.
So I had to look up all of those terms. And then that's what really sparked it. I was like, I got to learn everything. So then I got Modern Theory of Poker. I got all the mathy books because psychologically I was good at reading people and like kind of winning that. Woman's intuition, bro. But the math part, I've always been good at math. I just didn't know that there was a math part to it. So studying that was eye-opening and really fun.
Yeah, especially when you get to practice it too. When you get to studying's great.
Yeah,
you actually go and be in that situation like, oh, this is that 3B OOP thing. My God, look at this.
And I think that was like a big reason why Nikki and I clicked so instantly creatively as well, is because we started and got serious about poker around the same time. We're in sort of our journey at the same time. We were just talking yesterday about how like I kind of missed the days where I didn't know what was going on and I was completely a field player and intuitive player. And now that I've put all this time into studying theory, there are all these different layers where you get entitlement because you're putting the work in, and it's like a different game as like your knowledge of the game evolves. So I think that was like a huge reason why we were able to click so instantaneously. And we also were like within a few spots of each other last year on like the tournament cash scores globally for women.
Yeah.
We both had a pretty good year, our first year in tournament poker. And
yeah.
No, I was actually doing a deep dive on your Hendon mobs, and I was shocked to see how close you guys are even in like your total earnings. Do you know how close you are?
No.
By like a few grand, right?
Yeah. No, it's do you know who do you think is ahead?
I think Nikki's ahead, right?
I don't know. You had like some final tables at that tour.
Yeah, I had a good year so far and run good. I may have pulled ahead a tiny bit.
So I'll tell you, Nikki's score is 144,915 is her total live earnings, according to Hendon, of course. and yours are just barely higher, 148.
Oh,
Wow.
It's insane.
It's a
like
race.
so-
It's a race.
Yeah, it's fun.
She's going to cry later.
Already
She's
great.
going to be entering everything she can. She's like, Caitlin will not win.
for me, the most fun part of looking through like Nikki's scores, we're seeing all these like random Tuesday night, like at South Point. Like, what the hell is she doing? Or the Orleans?
The Orleans.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
South Point's too bougie for me.
Oh, there you go. Good to know. Okay. But my God, how much do you love poker if you're grinding at $120 buy-in?
No.
I mean, my goodness.
Well, we both started in cash. So like, I mean, started is like, so, I mean, in the pandemic is when I started studying and I was grinding cash. And then I moved here, and I don't know if you know my story, but I moved across the street from Katie Lindsay and Chris Moorman.
No.
So they live like literally, I see their house from my house.
That's
And
so
like,
good.
and we're in this, and it's in a gated community. It's not a real street. And so we met, and I couldn't believe they only played tournament poker. I had never studied tournament poker. I had tried playing a tournament once and played it like a cash game and like didn't get it at all. So I said, okay, now that we're living in Vegas, I want to play my first WSOP. I'm going to study. I'm going to hire a coach. So I started studying tournament poker. I won my first tournament online. It was like a $30 WSOP.com tournament. And then I put all that into poker coaching with Jesse Sylvia, who was recommended by Andrew Nemi. And I started winning immediately. Like the first week after coaching with him, I took first place at the Orleans $100.
Come on.
Yeah. And then that was like my first. Yeah. And then I either final tabled or busted. I never min cashed anything. So every other week I was like winning or final tabling, either getting second or the podium finish.
Yeah.
And then WSOP comes along, and I'd only been studying for a couple months. So I was like, okay, well, if I could just get a cash, like that'll be my post. Like I get a cash. And my second event, I final tabled and got fourth place in the $600 deep stack. So I feel like kind of trapped. Like I hate it. Tournaments are so depressing. They're so depressing, but I got trapped, and I think we both did.
Yeah.
I want
Gotta
to
have the glory.
ask, the first time I met you, Caitlin, was at the Global Poker Awards.
Mhm.
Jesse, I was sat next to him. His wife was on the other side. When your guys' category came up for Rising Content Star of the Year, I had Jesse's hand in one hand and his wife on the other, doing the whole...
I was in the middle of my wife and Chad. That's
Yeah, I was like,
way,
why was Chad
it's a
holding your
really
wife's
strange
hand?
thing to
Jesus.
yeah, he remembers the whole thing incorrectly, but go ahead.
But you ended up winning that award. And what was that like, that whole experience for you?
That was really, really special to be recognized by my peers. So the platform that my content popped off on was Twitter. So it's really cool that I have like over 500,000 views over like all the videos that I've made so far, but they were not monetized. Fuck you, Elon. No. So it was really nice to get that recognition from my peers. I mean, the way that they select the GPI awards is like you're voted by a panel of your peers in their different rounds. So it is a very special feeling to get. It was nice to be like all dressed up and have like all the different network connections that I made to be there on the night with like the other people that were recognized, like Lexi and Jesse and Natalie in our category, as well as like my Solve for Y friends got to take home a trophy as well. Rampage, who I've come up with in the content world, got recognized for 2 awards. So it was special. I was very nervous. So I was up for 2 awards, and I told Nikki the whole night, I was like, I'm kind of like actually scared I'm going to win both, because I have one speech that's very heartfelt, and then my second speech is like all bits, and I don't know if I have the cojones to do this like all bits speech. But luckily Greg Goes All In won the best video category, so we didn't have to cross that bridge.
Yeah. Yeah. What was great was Caitlin, when she won her award, the first thing she said, the first words out of her mouth were, thank you, Lucy Fullen. She said, thank you to my 14-year-old daughter.
I know, that was crazy.
Who had gone on social and said, like, I was recording, I was like, so, hey, you think I'm going to beat her? And she's like, no, Caitlin's stuff is way better than yours, Dad. I'm like, shut up.
No, what she said was
so-
it would be so cool if Caitlin won. And I was like, it would be so cool if
Yeah.
I won.
Yeah.
So I had to thank her.
Yeah. So I
Juju.
will humble you just a little bit. Today I told her, like, hey, Lucy, I'm interviewing Caitlin Comeskey today. She's like, who's that? Like,
Son of a gun!
wow, really? The one
Oh.
time you've had anyone say your name in front of hundreds of people and you just completely, oh yeah, I forgot about her. Oh, cool. Okay, Dad. All right. And she just closed her door. I'm like, okay.
These
Oh my
kids
God.
with
Leave
their
her alone.
The worst.
She's going
The
through
worst.
puberty. Leave her alone. She's got bigger fish to fry.
It's
She's got
true.
boys and college to worry about.
So I know I see Chad looking at his watch. We do just keep this to usually about 20 minutes. But before we move on to other stuff, I have to ask about your royal flush versus quads.
Mm-hmm.
How fucking crazy was that?
My God. Well, first, so many emotions because I've never gotten personally a royal flush before.
Yeah.
And then to do it on the very first hand in, it was like a fresh table of late reg people. We all had 40,000 in our stacks, exact same stacks. And it turned the royal, and then everyone checked the turn, and there was 3 people in the pot. And then, when I bet small on the river, he shoved all in and I snapped and he was like quads and I was like royal flush and he was like what? And then the whole table exploded. It was pretty wild. Part of me as a cash game player got really bummed.
Yeah, no bad jackpot.
Yeah,
Oh,
I've played
my.
Red Rock so much that I can't believe it got wasted at the beginning stages of a tournament.
Yeah.
Still busted the tournament, so didn't even have that.
Oh man.
But it was definitely an experience, like a fun story, like I'll keep forever. And then the very next day, I was at a table and a guy got a royal flush right next to me. And that is, I've only ever seen a royal flush in person one other time. So that was wild to get it twice in 2 days.
Yeah, I've been around poker for over 10 years. I've seen it twice, maybe in person. Like it's not, it's like a neighbor who's across the street. It's not like Katie and Chris. It's like, no, my neighbors I never see. So it is like that, I guess. But yeah, it's pretty weird. I had a fun idea to do with these two. I wanted to put you guys against each other.
Ooh.
A little quiz to see. You both come from entertainment, but now you're in poker. So we're going to bring back one of my favorite bits that Poker News does. Is it Phil Hellmuth or is it Kanye West? I'm going to ask you some quotes and see how good you guys are at this. So let me pull up my list real quick. Uno momento, por favor. Let's see. Where is it?
That's all right. Yeah.
All right. This might need to be, I had it here. Now it's missing. So give me 1 second. Fun.
This will all be edited out. You won't
That's
see
right.
it. It never happened for you.
Oh,
you don't know.
it's not live?
Oh, no,
we
it's not
don't
live.
live.
Oh,
No,
great.
no. Yeah.
Doesn't that look like Betsy, what's her name from UCB in the
Where the hell
background?
did it go?
Betsy,
The lady.
yeah,
in
the
the
lady.
middle?
Yeah.
I don't know who you're talking about.
No.
All right, just one more second. Last muff up by me. Yes, please. Oh, it has me under Poker News. That's why. Okay. Here we go.
Okay.
Yeehaw. Okay, I'll just bring it back in and we'll reintroduce that part. So just cut out from there to there. Okay. So knowing you guys come from an entertainment background, I'm going to now put you against each other. We're going to see who is the best at knowing. Is it Phil Hellmuth or is it Kanye West?
Oh my
These are some
God.
quotes. Yeah. Here we go. All right. So I'll ask Nikki first and Caitlin,
Okay.
and we'll keep score as to who. Chad, you keep score, okay?
I'll keep score. Yeah, I got it.
Perfect. Okay. The quote is, I'm pretty good as far as geniuses go. I'm like a machine. I'm a robot. You cannot offend a robot. I'm going down as a legend, whether or not you like me or not.
Oh my gosh. I was going to say Kanye West, but then the end part made me switch. I'm going to go Phil Hellmuth.
Oh, and then I ask or answer. I'm gonna go Kanye.
The answer is Kanye.
Yeah, I was thinking Kanye on that one.
I was thinking it until he said, I'm going to go down a legend, whether you like it or not. Because I was like, he already knows he's a legend. Like I felt like he wouldn't say that.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Every time I say something that's extremely truthful out loud, it literally breaks the internet.
Kanye.
Kanye.
That is Kanye. That is correct. All right. I wanted to be famous and I wanted to make a fortune, and I've done that.
Phil Hellmuth.
Kanye.
Phil Hellmuth.
That's a
Yeah.
full
We're
one. for
tied.
sure,
We're
yeah.
tied 2-2. Let's go.
I thought they were all gonna be Kanye there for a minute. I was like, my strategy is to only answer
Oh,
Kanye
right.
until I'm proven wrong.
Uh-oh. Here we
have
go.
a good strategy.
Here we go. I'm the good guy. I'm a family guy.
Oh. Kanye.
Phil Hellmuth.
That's Phil Hellmuth.
Oh, shit.
Kaboom, kaboom. All right, here we go.
Family? Just kidding.
Here we go. It's like I can look into their souls.
You picked this as a trick. I mean, I'll take the bait. Phil Hellmuth.
Kanye.
That's a Phil Hellmuth one.
Yes!
We're tied 3-3.
Let's fucking go. We are. Oh, baby.
I hate losing.
Uh-oh.
Can we tie?
No.
I've got the best reputation in the building.
No chops. Best reputation in the building?
In the building. I've got the best reputation in the building.
Phil Hellmuth.
Yeah, it's got to be Phil. Kanye would never set the bar so low
Yeah,
for
yeah.
himself.
That's a Kanye Western right there.
Oh.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Okay.
Tied 4-4.
When I watch myself on TV, I'm compelling.
Phil Hellmuth.
Phil Hellmuth.
Phil Hellmuth.
Yes.
All right. Well, what's the score right now?
5-5.
Still
All
the
tied up.
tiebreaker.
We have two more.
Oh, God.
Let's see what we can do here. I love sleep. It's my favorite.
Kanye.
Phil Hellmuth.
It's a Kanye Western. Uh-oh.
There's still
Uh-oh.
one more.
Okay, if we get this one, we may have to find a tiebreaker
You
question.
don't chop.
No, chops.
No chop.
We both don't chop any situation.
Okay. I feel like I'm too busy writing history to read it.
Phil Hellmuth.
Kanye.
That's a Kanye Western right there.
That's,
No, we're tied.
that's tied up.
Okay. Shit. Chad, think of a tiebreaker question while I try to find one real quick. Shit.
So it's not a Kanye, it's a Phil Hellmuth question.
Okay.
Okay.
And we'll do, the closest. In what year did Phil Hellmuth win his first World Series of Poker gold bracelet?
1989.
1989.
This is 1989. All right.
Okay.
Why did I know that? I just straight up knew that.
That's it.
And also, I should have let you answer first since I fucking knew it.
Here's the other. We'll have the
It's the year I was
gauge
born.
going closer.
I'm in.
With what hand did Phil Hellmuth win the 1989 World Series of Poker main event?
Oh, that's harder.
Queen 4 off. I don't know why
No
that
suits?
came
You want
in.
to pick suits? I mean, you can go all the way.
Why would I do
Okay, all right.
that to myself?
I'm gonna say pocket eights.
Well,
Wow.
you're definitely the closest. It was pocket nines,
Yeah.
9 of clubs, 9 of spades.
Yeah.
Shit.
The tiebreaker is going to go to Caitlin.
All right. Good game. Good game.
Well done. Well done.
Before we let you
I love
go,
humiliating you.
Before we let you go, can you
So
tell
embarrassed.
the listeners and the viewers where they can keep on top of you guys or watch the new Aceholes podcast?
Please keep on top of us.
Please, always. We'd love to be on the bottom. Anyway, so we are currently having a summer residency with Poker Night in America at Studio 52. That's where we're recording all of our episodes of Aceholes Pod. You can find clips and updates about Aceholes Pods on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok.
Yeah.
At Aceholes Pod. We do some shorts and some standalone sketches sometimes that you can check out, as well as our full-length episodes.
Well, all the videos are on YouTube.
Yes.
Yeah. And then we do like the audio versions are mostly just the interview, but we do like fun games with our guests and variety sketches and stuff on youtube.com/@AceholesPod. You have to put the @ sign in there. Otherwise, you'll end up like Matt Berkey and on a pickleball Nazi pickleball
That's not
Aceholes.
us.
Yeah,
That's not us.
That was
We
our
have
old
a
life. We
pickleball
changed.
team, but
We
we're
changed.
communist pickleball players.
Wow.
Well,
Well, I didn't think we'd talk about today. That's good. Man, I checked off my list. There we go.
Yeah.
well, Nikki and Caitlin, we appreciate you taking the time to come on the Chad and Jesse Poker Show. We know it's going to be a busy summer for you both. And of course, all of you out there, remember we're recording 2 episodes a week throughout the 2023 World Series of Poker. So be sure to keep on joining us all summer long.